Have you ever heard of a writer so powerful, he scared an entire empire? A man whose words became weapons, and whose life was a rebellion against the very world that celebrated him. This isn't just the story of an author. This is the story of Leo Tolstoy, the aristocrat who became an outcast, the soldier who preached peace, and the literary giant who tried to dismantle his own legacy. Imagine this. You are Count Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy. You're born into one of Russia's most distinguished noble families. You own vast estates, thousands of serfs, and have a direct line to the Tsar's court. Your future is a golden road paved with parties, military honors, and leisurely pursuits. You have everything a man could dream of. But instead of embracing this life of privilege, you're re-tormented by a question that haunts your every waking moment. What is the meaning of it all? From a young age, Tolstoy was a walking contradiction. He was a reckless gambler who lost his family home in a card game, yet he meticulously documented his every moral failing in his diaries, desperate to become a better man. He joined the army and fought with brutal courage in the Crimean War, witnessing the horrors of battle firsthand. He saw young men, full of life, turned into cannon fodder. He saw the cold, mechanical reality of organized killing, and it broke something inside him. These experiences didn't just give him stories to tell. They ignited a fire. He poured his disillusionment, his questions, and his search for truth into his writing. First came the autobiographical works, then the monumental novels that would change literature forever. War and Peace, a breathtaking epic that wasn't just about the Napoleonic Wars, but about the clash between individual will and the relentless march of history. He showed us war, not through the eyes of generals and emperors, but through the intimate lives of families, lovers, and ordinary soldiers. He made history feel personal, chaotic, and terrifyingly human. Then came Anna Karenina. On the surface, it's a tragic love story about a high society woman who defies convention. But beneath that, Tolstoy conducted a deep, surgical analysis of societal hypocrisy, the constraints of marriage, and the destructive nature of passion when it collides with a rigid world. He famously wrote, "All happy families are alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way." With that single line, he captured a universal truth that still resonates today. With these two masterpieces, Tolstoy became a global literary superstar. He was Russia's most famous citizen, wealthier and more influential than most of the Tsar's ministers. He had achieved the pinnacle of success. And that's when he decided to throw it all away. The fame, the wealth, the accolades, they felt hollow, a lie. The man who had exposed the hypocrisy of society now saw himself as its biggest hypocrite. He couldn't reconcile his life of luxury with the suffering he saw all around him. So, in his 50s, at the height of his fame, Tolstoy had a profound spiritual crisis. He renounced his former life. He stopped writing novels, calling them trivial and artificial. He looked to the teachings of Jesus, not as a deity, but as a teacher of a radical ethic. He preached a new philosophy based on a few simple, earth-shattering ideas: absolute non-violence, the rejection of all state and church authority, and a simple life of manual labor. He, the Count, started dressing as a peasant. He learned to make his own shoes. He worked the fields alongside the farmers on his own estate. He declared that all his literary works should belong to the public, renouncing his copyrights and the immense fortune they generated. This, as you can imagine, did not go over well with his family. His wife Safia, who had hand-copied War and Peace multiple times, saw this as a betrayal, a madness that would leave their 13 children destitute. Their home, Yasnaya Polyana, became a battleground of love and ideology. But Tolstoy's ideas spread like wildfire. He became a guru, a prophet. Disciples, known as Tolstoyans, flocked to him from all over the world, trying to live by his principles. He was a magnet for radicals, thinkers, and seekers. A young lawyer in South Africa, struggling with racial injustice, read Tolstoy's "The Kingdom of God is Within You." It changed his life. That young lawyer's name was Mahatma Gandhi. Decades later, Martin Luther King Jr. would build his own movement for civil rights on the same foundation of nonviolent resistance that Tolstoy had championed. The Russian Count's radical ideas had become the philosophical blueprint for some of the greatest social changes of the 20th century. Back in Russia, Tolstoy was becoming a problem. A huge problem. His writings, now essays and parables attacking the state, the Orthodox Church, and private property, were banned by the censors. But they were smuggled and secretly printed, becoming more popular than ever. He called the Church a corrupt institution that twisted the true message of Christ. For this, he was excommunicated, officially branded a heretic. He was now more than a writer. He was a one-man rebellion. The Tsar's government was terrified of him. They could execute revolutionaries and exile political dissidents. But what could they do with Leo Tolstoy? He was too famous to arrest, too beloved to silence. To make a martyr of Tolstoy would be to invite a revolution. So they were paralyzed, forced to watch as the most famous man in their empire systematically dismantled its moral foundations with his pen. He was, in a sense, untouchable. But the battle raging within his own home was just as fierce. His final years were a tragedy. Torn between his radical convictions and his love for his family, he felt trapped. He saw his own estate, his own life, as the ultimate symbol of the inequality he despised. The tension became unbearable. And here is the final, shocking act of his life. In the dead of winter, in October 1910, at the age of 82, Leo Tolstoy could take it no more. He wrote a farewell letter to his wife, and in the middle of the night, he secretly fled his home. With his doctor and youngest daughter, he set out on a final pilgrimage, seeking a place to live out his last days in peace and solitude, as a simple peasant. The world's media went into a frenzy. Tolstoy is missing. The headlines screamed. The whole world was searching for the great writer. But his escape was short-lived. A few days into his journey, on a cold, remote railway platform, the 82-year-old wanderer collapsed, stricken with pneumonia. He was taken to the station master's house in the tiny village of Ostapovo, and the world descended. The press, the police, his family, his followers, they all converged on this one small house. It became the most watched deathbed in history. Tolstoy, the man who had fled fame, died in the full glare of the global spotlight, a prisoner of the very celebrity he had tried to escape. His last words were reported to be, "To seek, always to seek." So, who was Leo Tolstoy? A novelist, a prophet, a madman? He was all of them. He was a man who contained multitudes, a walking war of contradictions. He wrote the greatest novels about human society, and then dedicated his life to tearing that society down. He inspired Gandhi and MLK Jr., yet couldn't find peace in his own family. He was a count who wanted to be a peasant, a sinner who wanted to be a saint. His life is a testament to the power of a single, questioning mind to challenge the world, and a haunting reminder that the greatest battles are often the ones we fight within ourselves. He didn't just write stories. He tried to live one so radical, so pure, that it ultimately broke him. Thank you so much for watching. If this story fascinated you, please hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history's most compelling figures, and share your thoughts on Tolstoy in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.